Alrighty, so for most of us, we're starting to think about hunting season. So I have not tried any hunting bullets in my 6 GT, so why not? Seems like 6 GT would be a good whitetail round, and I've got some of the 103 grain ELD-X's. I shot them in my 6 ARC and they shot really well, so they'll probably shoot good in my 6 GT. Now, I wanted to pick a good temperature stable powder, and this is one that I haven't used much of. IMR 4166. One of the Enduron powders, which I guess these are all discontinued, but I've got this full canister here, so we might as well use it. We're going to continue with our Hornady brass. Now, this is actually new brass, and we are using CCI 450 primers. Now, these hit the lands in my rifle at about 2.560, so we're going to load them about 20 thousandths off the lands at 2.540. Now, looking at load data online, we can probably work up to almost 35, 36 grains, but I never run anything that hot, especially not in my 6 GT. So we're going to start out at 33.0 grains and work our way up to 34.6 grains. This should get us still near 3,000 feet per second, which is plenty fast for me and this 103. So let's get out on the range and let's see how they shoot. Alrighty, we are out here on the range. The target is at 100 yards. This is my Seekins Havoc hit, chambered in 6 GT. It's got a Loophole Mark 5 7-35 optic, and this has a 1-8 twist 24-inch barrel. Now, I believe the gun is clean. It either is cleaned or it has 2 shots to it. It's been about 2 weeks since I've shot this gun, and I can't remember if I shot the 2 shots then cleaned it or vice versa. So I think we're going to have an oil shot here. But that's fine. We're going to do 3-shot groups. Those orange dots are 1/2 inch, and we are getting velocity through our lab radar. Obviously, we're shooting off our bipod and rear bag. Now, this is the first time I've ever shot this bullet, so it'll be interesting to see if it's going to show some promise, or at least first time I've shot it in this rifle. Shot really good in my 6 ARC. So we'll see how it does in the GT. Alright, first round here, like I said, we're probably going to get an oil shot. I believe the gun is clean. This one's probably going to be about 2,800 or so feet per second. Yep, 2,840. That was 2,870. So I caught that one with my finger as it was coming out. And 2,870, yeah, so I believe that first one was an oil shot. Didn't mess up our group, but it did kind of change our velocity, I think. Now, I've been having some issues with my lab radar, coming disconnected more than used to, so it's giving me a little trouble with velocity, but it is giving me the velocity numbers. All right, so those 3 averaged 2863, 19 SD. Obviously, that first one being so low changed our SD. 3-shot groups, not really too concerned about that, as long as they're not looking crazy, as long as they're, because we're going to retest this if we end up using one of these loads, and we're going to go ahead and move on up. Velocity was about where we expected, which is good. We should be reasonable for our pressure, so we're going to go ahead and move on up. Alright, that looked like a pretty good group. Usually where I like to shoot my GT is about 2,900 feet per second. Now, these being some hunting loads, I went up a little bit higher because we're not going to shoot a huge number of them if we end up, I don't know if we're going to end up hunting. This gun's not exactly a hunting gun, but see what we had there. Velocity looked really consistent. Yeah, velocity was 2912 average with a 6.9 SD. So again, 3-shot groups, but that's a good start. We'll go ahead and move on up again. Okay, not bad. Not quite as good as the group we shot previously. But it looks like consistent point of impact location, which is always important for finding a load. Those average 2,949 feet per second with an 11.4 SD. And moving on up here to 34.2. not bad again for 3-shot groups. Average there, our SD went up a little bit. We were at 2979 feet per second with a 15.6 SD, so a little bit higher SD than what I'd like. The barrel's also warming up pretty good, but I've only got 3 shots left. So we'll go ahead and shoot those 3. It is a hot day today, I don't think I mentioned that, but it's at least 80 degrees, high humidity, and it's still early, so that's why I'm out here trying to shoot pretty early before it gets too hot. Obviously, this being an Enduron powder, it should do well in various different temperatures, so the heat really shouldn't affect our load too much, but obviously we'd have to retest this once it cools off, considering we'll be hunting when it's hopefully not 90 degrees. Alright, last group here. Alright, not a bad looking group there either. And this is about as hard as I've pushed my GT, not that we're necessarily pushing it hard, but we did pass 3,000 feet per second there. I usually run at about 2,900 to kind of conserve barrel life, but again, hunting loads, probably only shoot a few of them, so who cares, right? Alright, so those 3, we averaged 10 feet per second with a 9 SD. So pretty consistent across the board with group size and really point of impact. So pretty happy with this. Let's go check out the target. Alright, so taking a look at our target here, I am pretty happy overall. Point of impact was consistent across the board, and really group size didn't change a whole lot. Now, we started out with that 33.0 load, which again, I think this contained an oil shot, which kind of screwed our velocity up, but we still had a 0.6 inch group, 2863 feet per second with a 19.4 ST. Now, our most promising looking groups are those last 2 in my opinion. The group size is almost the same, and the point of impact shifted almost none, which really it shifted almost none across the board, but either way. So our last 2 groups, we had at 34.2 grains, we shot that half-inch group at 2979 feet per second with a 15.6 SD, and our last group at 34.6 grains, we shot a 0.37 inch group, 3010 feet per second, and a 9.0 SD. So I think in between those 2 there is where we're going to continue to test. Obviously, we're probably going to wait until it cools off, because if we were to use these in hunting season, it's probably not going to be 85 degrees with like 70% humidity. But overall, this really looks like I could load up any of these and they'd probably work. So congrats to the ELD-X, it continues to shoot really well. Also really happy with IMR 4166. Velocity numbers are really impressive at 3,000 feet per second, and we're still well off what load data would tell us would be a max load. Now, taking a look at our brass, there's really nothing to see here. We have just a little bit of cratering in our primers. That seems to happen a bit with this gun all the time. They really aren't getting worse if we look at our lowest load versus our top load. Primers are still nice and round, and obviously no ejector smears or anything like that. So I think this was a pretty good start with this bullet. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and stay tuned. Again, we're going to start some of that barrel work soon. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks for subscribing, and we'll see you next time.